Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn about active fire protection systems. This lecture is going to cover on the active fire protection systems on the function of portable fire extinguisher, hose reel, and also riser. These notes are intended for educational purposes only, as well as to give basic understanding on active fire protection system. Any details, please free to refer anyone who are expert in this area or do extra homework by referring to the books related to the active fire protection system. At the end of the series, students should be able to understand the importance of active fire protection systems, as well as to elaborate the function of fire extinguisher, hose reel, and riser. In active fire protection system, it have the main groups under which active precautions must be considered. The first one is alarm and detecting system, automatic fire extinction, facilities to assist the fire services, and also as first aid firefighting equipment. For active fire protection systems, the system is divided based on the material, which are number 1 is gas suppression system, which includes the automatic sprinkler system, water spray system, deluge system, wet riser system, hydraulic hose reel system, and hydrant system. And the next one is foam suppression system, which consists of high expansion foam, low expansion foam, and premix foam. The third one is smoke and fire detection system, which is referring to fire detector, such as ionization detector, optical detector, heat detector, PEM detector, line detector, infrared and flame detector. Meanwhile, for water suppression system, we have halogenated hydrocarbon, carbon dioxide system, and halon alternative. Now, let's start with the first types of active fire protection system, which is portable fire extinguisher. Portable fire extinguisher is a color-coded cylinders, identified by color coding for its intended purpose. It contains compressed liquids and gases which are appropriate to various sources of fire. This is also the standards firefighting equipment used in all commercial and public buildings. And the objectives of fire extinguisher is to remove or sufficiently reduce at least one element of the fire triangle discussed in the previous lecture. These are the color codes of fire extinguishers. The red one is water fire extinguisher, the blue one is dry powder fire extinguisher, the peach one is foam fire extinguisher, the black one is carbon dioxide fire extinguishers, and the yellow one is wet chemical fire extinguishers. Different color codes have different functions, and they are used to distinguish different types of fires. The first types of portable fire extinguisher is soda acid water fire extinguisher. Soda acid water fire extinguisher has a small glass container of sulfuric acid inside the extinguisher. It is released into the water cylinder when a knob is struck. The acid mixes with water, which contains carbonate of soda, to create a chemical reaction producing carbon dioxide gas. The next one is foam fire extinguisher. The foam is formed by a chemical reaction between sodium bicarbonate and aluminum sulfate dissolved in water. When the extinguisher is inverted, the chemicals are mixed to create foam under pressure, which is forced out of the nozzle. The third one is carbon dioxide fire extinguisher, which is commonly installed in buildings and premises. Carbon dioxide is pressurized as a liquid inside a cylinder. By striking a knob at the top of the cylinder, it pierces a disc to release the carbon dioxide gas. Next, we have dry powder fire extinguisher. Dry powder extinguishers put out fires by coating the fuel with a thin layer of fire retardant powder, separating the fire from the oxygen. The powder also interrupts the chemical reaction, which makes these extinguishers extremely effective. Now, let's take a look for the next component under active fire protection system, which is hose reel. Hose reel is a firefighting equipment used as a first aid measure by building occupants. It is usually located in a recess along corridors. The length of the hose reel is provided with up to 45 meters. There is a range of hose reels available, such as fixed, swinging, and recessed manual hose reel. This slide shows the operation of hose reel. The water can be supplied directly from the mains if the supply to the highest reel can be 200 kilopascal and provide sufficient discharge. If the supply cannot be supplied from the leading, automatic pumping equipment will be installed. The next component for active fire protection system is riser, which consists of wet riser and dry riser. So now we will look into the wet riser. Wet riser is a pipe kept permanently charged with water, specifically for non-freezing area, where the water available directly from a storage tank via a booster pump or fed directly from the town's main water supply. Wet risers are a form of an internal hydrant for firefighters to use and are always charged with water. They are only required for buildings where the topmost floor is higher than 30.5 meters above the fire appliance access level. The installation of wet riser. The wet riser is permanently filled with water in order to supply the hydrant valves on each floor. This will ensure that there is an immediate water supply. This system provides infrastructure for fire brigade to connect its pipes and pump the water from outside of the buildings. The operation of wet riser. The duty pump is activated by a fall in water level registering at the pipeline switch. The flow and pressure switch then responds to water flowing. When all hydrant landing valves are closed, lack of hydraulic movement engages the flow and pressure switch to disconnect the pump. This slide shows the example of technical sketch of wet riser, showing the location of each components in the operation of wet riser system. Now, let's take a look at dry riser. Dry risers are a form of an internal hydrant for the firefighters to use and are only required for buildings where the topmost floor is higher than 18.3 meters and less than 30.5 meters above the fire appliance access level. Dry risers generally depend on the fire engine to pump water into the system because there is no water inside the dry riser. This system comprises a riser pipe with landing valves on each floor and to which rubber-lined hose with nozzles can be connected to direct the water jet at the fire. This slide shows the example of technical sketch of dry riser, showing the location of each components in the operation of dry riser system. Here's a video showing how dry riser works.
Firefighters will arrive at the dry riser when there's a fire in the upper floors. They'll open up the door and they'll use their fire hose and connect straight to the inlet. They will then fill the hose full of water under high pressure and push the water up to the upper floors of the building. This is the outlet for the dry riser, and this is what firefighters use to connect their hose on upper floors in high-rise buildings before carrying out firefighting.
That's all for today, thank you.